It's the 29th episode of the WWJ Industry Connected podcast, a monthly podcast devoted to the groundwater industry produced by the National Groundwater Association. I'm your host, Mike Price, and today we're joined by Gene Ndana of the Tools for Safety Titans newsletter. With June being National Safety Month, we discuss pinch point safety, new hire safety orientation, the 3 steps necessary before orientation, and more. We welcome to the podcast Gene Ndana, a safety expert who writes a free weekly newsletter on LinkedIn, Tools for Safety Titans. He's been writing it for about a year and a half now. It's a real practical, concise, hands-on safety newsletter for folks to read and put into practice. So welcome to the podcast, Gene.
Thank you, Matt. Happy to be here.
Yes, so am I. Gene is a certified safety professional who is on to discuss pinch points and new hire safety orientation today. But before that, Gene, please introduce yourself.
I'll be more than happy to do that. My name is Gene Ndana. I've been a health and safety. I'm an engineer by training and a health and safety practitioner by heart. I've been in a safety arena for more than 25 years. My experience in safety span across multiple industries. I started with oil and gas, food, automotive, construction, transportation, and steel manufacturing. I work as a safety director for a company specialized in steel tubing. In addition to that, I'm an author. I publish peer review article in American Society of Safety Professional magazine. I'm also a speaker at safety conferences. And as you mentioned, I have a weekly free newsletter. When I'm not busy with work, I play recreational soccer. I'm a volunteer soccer coach, soccer referee, and I have 2 daughters, and we are all big in soccer. They play travel soccer. I've been all over the U.S. because of soccer, because of them. So that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah, I got the World Cup coming up this summer, so that's exciting.
Yeah, we are all excited, and there also because we're going to see players, big players that we see on TV,
right?
in real life. Yeah.
Well, very good. Pinch points and new hire safety orientation is the 2 topics we wanted to get your vantage point on, and specifically with pinch points in our industry. Drill rig advancements have ushered in hands-free systems that have reduced pinch points in manual lifting, but pinch points are still there. They still exist. So both pinch points and tools create pinch points on a drill site. Proper PPE, work gloves, being well rested are essential to prevent crushed hand injuries. But what more should we know about pinch points from your safety perspective?
Yeah, that's a good question and a broad one. I will try to make it short and sweet. Pinch when even in the steel industry, hands injury are the most common injury in the steel industry. So we are always struggling to find ways and means to prevent hands injury. And things that I've did in the past, you need first to when it comes to pinch point, first thing you need to do is to know you need to train people so they can identify what a pinch point is. So sometimes we skip this basics thing that we need to make sure that people understand they can recognize a pinch point. And to do that, you need to define clearly what a pinch point is. So I'm going to start with that. A pinch point is a space.
Yeah.
Is a space between one stationary part, another one that is moving, or 2 moving parts that are coming together and create a space. So that space there, it's a pinch point. For example, in construction or they will tell you never be underneath a suspended load. Why? Because that's a pinch point. The load is the moving part, and the ground is the stationary one, if you are between there, you can get crushed if the cable snap and something. That's why they tell you, hey, don't, because that's a pinch point. Another pinch point is that we see it can be your door. Between the door, the jam, and so on, that's a pinch point there. If you put your hand there, remember when you have kids, they always pinch themselves. So those are, you define it so, and you use day-to-day things to let people understand that in the industry, it can be a running midpoint. It can be, like I say, two parts that are moving, that are coming together, and they create that space. You tell people, and to combat that, that's a definition, that training, and you show them example. Now, things that I've did in the past was like create a campaign. I say, hey, let's war against hands injury in general, and around that, pinch point. You train them. We do it, and you buy stickers about pinch point. And after the training, you give stickers to everybody from the CEO to the latest new hire. And let's go to a scavenger pinch point hunt. If you go there, you see a pinch point. Because now you know the definition, you put a sticker and we take you a picture about it and say, hey, I recognize the picture, pinch point. That's how you do. One thing I did during my campaign. Another one is to bring vendors. And that's gloves, that's selling gloves. You stay there, they can make a presentation. They use the different type of gloves to match, they use the glove to match the work. They show people that, hey, depending on the job you're doing, you need to make sure that you're wearing the proper glove, because one glove can be suitable for this job, another type may not. So the vendors will be more than happy to come and do this type of thing for free because they want your business. So there's another partner that I brought in doing those things. Another thing I did as a campaign point, you people that have been in injury involving a pinch point, lost a finger, maybe a little amputation here. You ask them to make testimonials so they can share their story, how this injury impacted their life, the life of their family. So these are the things that can resonate with people, so they can. And still, yes, in still industry we have no touch tool, and you need to be very specific how to use them and where, and you train people about that. And another thing you need to do that is linked to pinch point, it's machine guarding.
Yes.
And you need to do for any work, any machine, you do a machine guarding assessment to see if there are exposed sprocket, exposed point of operation, pinch point in that machine. You do that assessment. You need to do that. And after the assessment, you will know what type of controls you need to put in place. So that's maybe a big answer to a general. I share some practical thing there some people can do to fight against pinch point. You need to recognize them. You need to train people. You need to make some awareness, and you can do it as a campaign, like I did with those little things inside there.
I came across in another trade magazine in our industry, the instructor or the author of the article mentioning in firefighter training that the instructor used an antenna, a car antenna, as a tool to lightly place on the trainee as they're doing their task exercise training, that if their hand was in the wrong spot, there'd be a light tap with the antenna to show, no, that's not where it needs to be.
Yeah, hands placement. Yeah, exactly.
Placement. And thought that was a really good way of teaching proper hand placement.
Yeah, each time in your teaching, you come with something unusual, surprise, a way of doing it. That's a wake-up call, so that people will remember that for a long time than if you're using the same. Now that you say that, it makes me think about something funny that I did in that campaign. It was using what we did when we were in kindergarten, like finger painting.
Oh, yeah.
So that was another portion of that campaign. Just water paint, and people put that on their hand. And I bought this piece of paper, rolls of paper, and we're making fun at putting our fingers on it and signing our initial on it. And I posted that on a high traffic area, like a time clock.
Right.
So when our people were coming in the morning or afternoon at night, when they see their fingers on the wall on that paper, that's a reminder, that's a poster, but with a real poster, hey, watch out on your hand placement. And another little thing I want to mention about pinch point is that some pinch points are permanent, that they don't go away. Some are fleeting. For example, in the steel industry, because that's something I know a lot. If you have tubing that are rolling down the table, inclined table coming down, between those tube, that's a pinch point. Man, if you remove the tube, the pinch point disappears. So in my training, I try to highlight those non-permanent pinch point, because most of the time we are used to permanent one. If you see these gears that are running like that one is permanent, it never go anywhere. But some are not permanent. For example, another one that can be, if you're talking to a forklift driver and you don't pay attention where you put your foot. You may put your foot in the pinch point between the tires and the ground. There may be a little gap there that it can run you over. So that's why sometimes there's maybe 2-foot rule that 2-feet rule that if you're talking to a forklift driver, you need to be 2 feet away. So make sure that you don't put your foot on it cannot roll you over. Why is it running over? Because you put your foot on the pinch point, which is the gap between the tires and the ground. So that's another pinch point that is not permanent. So in the training, you want to make sure that you highlight those type of pinch point: permanent one, non-permanent one. Mm-hmm. Another one that's coming to my mind, if an employee is inside maybe a scissor lift and want to enter a production floor on the scissor lift, and he has his hands on the cage outside there, that's create a pinch where now when you go inside there, you have your hands outside and you have the side of the roll-up door. You can pinch you can squeeze your hand between the scissor lift cage and the door. So that's another pinch point that is not permanent that you created. So that's why I say, hey, watch out where you put your hands and so on.
Right. That's the common phrase you hear on a drill site is, don't put your hand there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so in the drill site, when people are doing the job, they need to do, my suggestion, we need kind of a quick assessment or quick toolbox talk and say, where are the pinch points here when we're doing this job? A quick reminder will not hurt. It will always be helpful.
Yeah, you always have time for reminders, huh? What's that?
Say if somebody is saying we're going to use this tool to unbolt something, you need to watch out and say, if I do it like this and I loosen the bolt, am I going to hit something there? That's a pinch point that you created that is not permanent. So because as soon as you remove the tool, maybe let's say that you try to unbolt something there. When you remove the tool, there's no pinch point. As soon as you put the tool, maybe there's a pole in front of it, and you do like this, and you make sure if you loosen it quickly, you can hit that pole that is just in front of it. That's another non-permanent pinch point that you need to be aware that, hey, by using this tool, by doing this, I'm creating a pinch point, I'm putting myself in pinch point. But for those one, you may have a high impact glove that can help you in things like that.
Right. And now for new hire safety orientation, our industry, like all the other trades, are having a difficult time finding new workers. But the new workers that do come into our industry, we want to make sure they're trained safely so they remain in our industry. It's a broad topic, like pinch points can be. Do you have any, and each company is different, their size, and that'll dictate their safety training. But what can you share, 30,000 foot view, and then drill down a little deeper into some specifics that you want to include in safety training for companies to keep in mind?
For new hires.
For new hires, yes.
Yeah, you're right. That's a big topic. I'm going to make it, again, short and sweet and practical. But the first thing, there's a phrase that I like to use. You don't throw new hire to the wolf. That means that as soon as they come they arrive, don't say, hey, welcome here. Here are these are your gloves, your helmet, your safety glasses. Go out there and be safe. If you do that, my expression that I use is say you're throwing them to the wolf, because they don't know what is out there. So before that, you need to conduct a new hire safety orientation that is engaging, impactful, and sticky, memorable, and maybe fun. So, and to do that, there are many things that are transferable across any industries. I'm going to walk you through some of them. The first thing you need to do, you need, before even putting in place your new hire safety orientation, you need to know, first thing, the common risk hazard that are present in your workplace. You and I agree that you cannot pretend to protect somebody from hazard that you yourself don't know. So you need to do an assessment, because we all have this big goal, is to keep new hire and any employee safe. So how can you keep somebody safe if you don't really know the hazard that are the risks that are out there? So you need to make sure that you yourself, you do your own assessment. You know all the common risk hazard that are out there. First thing, and now you develop controls. You need controls of those hazards. So you know that. Third thing you need to do before in order to develop an impactful, effective new hire safety orientation is to identify the attributes, the characteristic of the safety culture you want to develop. Because I find it's funny, because some companies say we want to have a great safety culture, we want to have this, but they don't take the time to develop what it looks like, what are the attributes, the characteristic of the safety culture you want to develop and implement. For some characteristics, we want to create a workplace where, for example, people are encouraged to report hazard, safety concern without fear of retaliation. That can be one of the characteristics. We want to create a workplace where management and workers are working together, hands in gloves, to solve safety issues. That can be one of them. I want to create a workplace where machines are well maintained, people are properly trained, people are given the right tool. Those are the characteristics of you need to put that in place to say, I want to do this. So these are the main things first, before even thinking about developing a new orientation. You need those things. You need to identify, I want to summarize it, identify the main risks that are present. You need to put the controls, and you need to identify the characteristic, the attribute of the workplace you want to do. So when you have that new hire orientation, new hire, you tell them, hey, watch out there. You will see this. We're using big machinery, we have high forklift traffic, we're using big overhead crane, we're having acid vat where we do some sprinkling, whatever the main as you warn them, you say this, and these are the control measures we put in place to protect you from this.
Yes.
And this is the characteristic of a workplace we want to create. So when you do that, now that you have that, you develop your program, it's now time to deliver it. A big mistake I've seen out there when it comes to new hire safety orientation is that many people think that the new hire safety orientation is the time to do a detailed, lengthy training. No. I think no. Can imagine somebody coming, it's new, a relatively young guy in his early 20s, has never been in an industrial environment. Maybe the job that I've done, they're coming directly from Jimmy Jones, McDonald's, that's where and you start talking to him about lockout targets, and you go through the different steps of a lockout target and so on. What do you think that guy, that young boy, is going to retain if you overload him with not that much? Because, and another thing, it's not on his very first day that that young person will be involved in a lockout target procedure. So what you do is just give him what I call a punchline. You show him a picture of a lockout, the tag, and say, if you're out there on the floor, you see this lock, you see this tag, don't touch. Somebody is working on this piece of equipment. You and I agree that if you just tell him that and he follows the rule, he will be safe when it comes to lockout target. They say, hey, Gene told me or Mike told me during my, that if I see this lock, I did this tag, I don't touch. If I see that this piece of equipment in your industry has been tagged and locked, I should not try to run it because it's not safe. Something I should not touch, so I get away. Same thing, I can take another example. If you have confined space, for example, and you want to give him a lengthy training about confined space, and say, hey, a confined space, there are two types of a definition of a confined space is in a space that is not designed for continuous improvement, continuous occupancy, has a restricted means of going in and out, and your body can fit that. And there are two types: permit required, non-permit required confined. That guy most likely, and a confined space, you have a attendant, you have this guy, you have this. Most likely he won't retain all that because this looks new to him, Chinese to him, and so. Yeah. What you do, I'm giving another practical example, is the punchline. You show him a picture and say, if you're out there, you see this confined space, do not enter. Don't go there, do not enter. So you use punchline. These are just basic awareness, something you can build upon later on. It's not on that very first day that you need to overload him. So you need to be you give him bite size of information that will help him to navigate safely during these first days, the new work environment. Is not to make him an expert in lockout target and do. Right. That will come later on. So that's another mistake that people do. And another one that I think is that they wait. That's a good one. They wait till the end of the safety orientation to do the assessment. If there's some don't even do an assessment, some other do at the end, as they give you the assessment to see what you have retained. For me, that's a big mistake. You know why? Because they miss throughout the orientation, throughout that time, they miss many opportunities to interact you need to include, you need to sprinkle out some knowledge assessment
Right.
throughout your thing. After a big and I want to say big, but after a section that you think that is relevant, you need to do a quick knowledge check.
Yeah.
And make it interactive, because if each time people hear the word quiz, they may start being nervous and so on. They say, no, make it if you tell them, for example, practical thing, these are the required PPE that you need to have before setting your foot on the site, on the production floor, and so you need to have safety glasses, helmet, hearing protection. I don't know why. You can do a quick assessment at the end of this thing. Hey, well, tell me what are the required PPE before setting your foot on the production floor. If they miss one, you can help them and say, hey, you already say safety, hard hat, safety glasses, maybe they're missing, let's say, hearing protection. And say, hey, you're missing one. What about if you go in an environment where it's loud and so on? What do you think that is mean? Oh, they will say, yeah. So you do that back and forth with them. Throughout the thing, you increases your chances for them to retain information instead of waiting maybe 2 hours, 3 hours down at the end to say, hey, now it's time for an assessment. First, some people are nervous when they hear the word quiz, but if you put knowledge, you sprinkle out knowledge check during the thing, you increase your chances for the employee to retain. And so that's I can go on and on and on if we still have time, but these are the few things that I've seen out there. I know that because I was doing the same mistake until I realized that, hey, this is not good. We need to change. Another, if we want another one, a mistake that I was doing, where I realized that is not safe, is that as soon as you have your new hire in the room, you jump right away in your material. You start talking about the safety thing. For me, it's a big no-no. Don't do that. You need to make them feel important. Value important. You need to let them know that they choose your company. This is you are happy for them because they're here, because you see them as an addition, a fantastic addition to your team and so on. And that's one thing. The thing that I was doing is I play a little music, maybe 1 minute of music from the Kool and the Gang celebration. Dun, 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 dun.
Right.
I put that there for 1 minute and say we're happy. We celebrate you. Hey, Mike, thank you for being here. You have many choices, but you choose our company. We celebrate you and so on. That's one thing I was doing. And I will explain to you why I'm doing all that. First, to show them. And another thing I was asking them is to share. Ask them to share what they call a win or any hobby they have. To share a win. For me, I would say my hobby is to play recreation soccer, to coach a little soccer league for kids. That's my hobby. Or if they don't have, you say, hey, you share a win. What you consider a win can be anything. I ate my favorite meal yesterday. I went I went fishing with my son the other day. I read a nice book. I went to a movie with my wife, or whatever it is. Oh, my daughter just got admission to a dream university school, or got a full ride. Why am I doing that? Is to put new hire in a mental and psychological mindset that is conducive to learning. Because you don't know how they slept. Maybe they're coming from, they have an argument with their spouse, and so the mindset is not there. Maybe they're anxious, their kids, it's sick or something. Yeah, and you know that if they are just physically present but mentally absent, your message one will not go through because they are not there. They are physically there but mentally absent. But by doing these little tricks, like the music, is to make them feel comfortable. You ask them to share the win, their hobby. When people are talking about their hobby or what they win, their guard is down. They're happy because they like to share this type of thing. So you are trying, you are putting them in a mental, psychological, emotional state that is conducive to learning. So you are the word, the expression that I use is you are like like a good farmer. Before planting the seed, which is the knowledge, you need to prepare the soil. That is their mindset. So what you are doing there, you are preparing the soil, and so to make sure that you are watering, removing weeds, rocks, and so on before starting to plant. So those little things help. So and that's
Yeah. Yeah, I like those examples, what you've shared, and yeah, the full attention. You may be physically present, but mentally absent. Man, that is in today's day and age. Our attention spans through use
very
of
short.
through use of technology and whatnot have really shortened our attention spans, and so that plays a part with pinch points. It plays a part in all safety matters and working safely, operating safely, and to really snap into it and give full attention to the task at hand is critical. Um, well, thank you, Gene, for your time and your expertise. Expertise from outside our industry, but lends itself to safety in our industry because safety is universal. Um, where can viewers sign up to? How can viewers sign up to get your Tools for Safety Titans newsletter?
In Lincoln, and I'm very present in Lincoln. And if they just type my name, Gene and Dana, I think I will pop up there, and they can just sign up for it. It's free, like you mentioned, and I like the. I believe that we are, as a safety professional, we are in non-proprietary industry. There's no trade secret. That's why I like to share what I know. And I like also to learn from my readers if they make any comment, any suggestion. If they want me to maybe cover a topic that's they feel strongly about, they can always suggest. And okay, and they will also track me by doing that on LinkedIn. They're following me. They will see my activities. Each time I'm presenting, I will always say I will be at this conference. It's like I will be at the National Safety Conference. I will be presenting there. In April, I was at the Michigan Safety Conference. I had two topics there, two different topics. One was about leading and lagging indicators, how to select leading indicator that's impactful. And the other one was about near miss, how to create a near miss management system that is effective and so on. I'll share 7 principles to make it. So yeah, so maybe that will be a next topic of our next discussion. If they want me to talk about near misses program, how to develop a solid, effective one, I'll be more than happy because I wrote an article about it. So I made all the mistakes safety professional make before I realized that hey, something need to change, and I learned from my mistake. Now they don't need to do the same mistake that I did, so that we just got. So that's my intent. Don't do the same mistake I did. Each time I'm writing something, I'm sharing something, is to prevent them from making the same mistake. They just need to learn from my mistake and take it from there. And, yeah, so I'm in prison in Lincoln. So that's so far. Maybe like I'm trying to come with maybe a website, a safety YouTube channel. I know that takes a lot of time to develop all these things, but I'm not there. But that's my intent one of these days to make some videos and so on.
a newsletter for now. It's really good, practical advice, information. So, Gene, thanks again for your time and expertise today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for inviting me. I'll be more than happy to come back.
Thanks for watching and listening to the WWJ Industry Connected podcast. We'll be back next month with a brand new episode, so be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the major platforms, so it will be easy to find us. And visit wateroiljournal.com for the latest expert columns, feature articles, videos, and news covering the groundwater industry. So one more time for Gene and I, thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.